Hello.
You're so retarded. Me.
Mute everybody really fast. Okay, let me post in the group. If you guys have coaches that are not on, please make sure they get on. We'll let everybody know we're getting started here. My eyes are like watering from this fan. Okay. Okay, we'll give everybody can just kind of hop on when they're on. How about that? We are recording, so I will post this to the YouTube channel as soon as we get finished. That way you can share it and rewatch it if you want to, because I'm sure you're going to be taking a lot of notes. So first couple things I'm going to go through just before we start. We have 2 weeks left to lock in Success Club this month. It is, what's today? The 19th. So yeah, a little less than 2 weeks to lock in Success Club. So make sure you guys have your goals set. Make sure you are doing the power of 3 and talking to the 3 people and adding the 3 people and inviting the 3 people and just everything in threes, okay? Make sure you are doing that. Make sure you are fitting in time to get this done. Our sneak peek ended last night. We have the recording for that also on the YouTube channel, so make sure if you have people that are interested in coaching or curious as to what we do, make sure you share that recording with them. Make sure you follow up with anybody that you have sent the recording to or that you had on the call. Make sure you're sending messages to people because the success is in that follow-up. We are going to start doing our sneak peeks different. We are going to start doing sneak peeks bi-weekly. We are going to do a sneak peek for 5 days the first week of the month, the first Monday of the month, and then we're going to do a sneak peek the third Monday of the month. Every single month, 2 5-day long groups. So my goal with this is just for us to freaking slam people in, right? Anybody that we think is going to be good at this, anybody that we think might be interested in coaching, we're always going to have something like that to invite them to versus sending them recordings of hour-long calls. Okay, because if it was me, I probably wouldn't be able to follow along on an hour-long call of just listening. I would definitely lose my interest. So that's going to go into effect in May. I've got the material for it. I've got it all done, and I'll post some more information as we have that started. Last thing is our new team training website. Make sure you are looking at that website. Make sure you've gone into it and you've gone through the training yourself. Make sure you're checking all the different tabs and learning about it, because it is your job to now duplicate that to your team. So you have people sign up. That's the first thing they need to see is that team training website. So make sure you've gone to it, luxerepubliccoaches.com. Make sure you are familiar with it. Make sure you've done it yourself and start using it, okay? It's a lot of great information for coaches that need to get started pretty quickly straight out of the gate, okay? I'll stop yelling and I'll let Meredith take over. Meredith is just such a freaking rock star. I love her to death. I told Brett, like, as soon as we met her the first time, I'm like, she's really fun. Like, we could probably be best friends if we went into it. And she's in the San Diego area also, so we've gotten to know each other a little bit better recently. But she's been a coach for 2.5 years, so not a very long time. She is technically still probably classified as a newer coach. She's a 2-time elite, right? Probably, I'm sure, on track to be 3-time this year, 5-star diamond coach. She had diamond in 3 months of her business. So those of you, those new coaches that are like, oh my gosh, diamond seems so far away. It's not. Okay, it's very, very, very doable in your first 2-3 months as a coach. And then she hit her 6-figure earning mark in her 2nd year of coaching. So obviously had a lot of success in this business, and I'm really excited for you to hear from her. And I've got my paper ready to take down notes and things like that. So Meredith, I will unmute you and mute myself and let you take over here. Can you hear me?
Yep. Hi guys, can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. Okay, good. Well, hi. I'm Meredith, like Raina said. That was such a nice introduction. So I don't even know that I need to um, introduce myself or give any like accolades or that sort of thing. Like Raina said, I'm a new coach. I'm a rookie. I'm 2.5 years into coaching. And I have to say it was like the best decision I ever made. I'm not the person that came into coaching thinking that I would be doing it as a full-time business. I didn't really know what I was going to be doing with it. But I'll tell you a little bit about my story, my background, some of my aha moments. And then really, I think I'll do better just learning from you guys where you need support. Ask me questions, and I'm really, really open, and I'm very cards on the table. So you can ask me anything. But so basically, about 2.5 years ago, I'd already been working in the health and wellness field. I've been a yoga teacher for the past 8 years now. So at that time, 6 years. And I was teaching yoga full time. That's how I made ends meet. And I will let you know that yoga teachers, for those of you that are reaching out to health and fitness instructors, we don't earn a really good living. It's a very humble living. It's like you are rewarded by helping people, kind of like this business, right? Only that there's not really a lot of room to grow there. So I truly loved what I was doing. I had studied as a holistic health practitioner. I had a lot of digestive maladies growing up. So coming into finding my health through nutrition and wellness was something that I just authentically wanted to share with others. And so being a yoga teacher really gave me that platform. I started to lead like wellness workshops and detox workshops kind of through the yoga circuit. So I had some foundation of health already, and I did have sort of a warm market, you could say, for that. So I found my coach, Amy, on Instagram, and I found her when I was looking to break my own plateau, but I was also excited about doing something with this, becoming an entrepreneur in some ways. Like I wanted to open up my own business, but I didn't have the money for a website. I didn't really know. I mean, I'm not a personal trainer. I'm a yoga teacher. They're very different things. Like I couldn't make a video of like what Autumn does or like Tony does. So I'm like, how am I going to create an online wellness business or ebooks or this sort of thing when I don't really know where to start. I also was at a plateau in my health, and I wasn't really happy with my weight. So I found my coach on Instagram, didn't know she had anything to do with Beachbody. And I reached out to her. She had an inquiry out for, it was T25 at the time, and it was about doing a 60-day challenge and then being sponsored and coaching. And I was like, well, I could probably coach people because I already kind of do. So I reached out to her. I think I probably didn't answer her emails for a while. I know she had to follow up with me because, the fortune is in the follow-up. So she had to follow up with me probably a few times before she got me. But, I stepped into it. When I found it was Beachbody, I was excited because I had done Beachbody programs about 8 years prior to that. So I bought my first infomercial workout, Turbo Jam, back then and fell in love with it. So I knew of Beachbody, the brand. I knew that I loved their programs. I knew back then, 8 years ago, there was like a coaching op, but I think it looked very different than now. So there was this sort of thing that I was interested in, but I didn't know that you could actually build an income with it or a career around it or anything like that. So I really just signed up as a coach because when you are a yoga teacher, you don't really have money for your challenge pack. So mine was $180, which meant I needed to find some accountability buddies to do it with so that I could get my investment paid off. So I invested the money, and before I even got my challenge pack in the mail, I'd signed up as a coach, and I just started to email my friends that I knew either loved to do fitness things or people that maybe I'd try to do diets with before, and I just sent them an email, and I'm like, hey, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I just signed up for this thing. I'm doing a 60-day challenge. I'm really looking for some accountability buddies. Will you do it with me? So I got my first couple challenge packs sold that way, which was great because that got me into Success Club. So I don't know where you guys are at in your business, but Success Club is monumental and fundamental to everything you do in your business. And I didn't understand that. Like my coach kept saying Success Club, and I'm like, what is this Success Club thing? Like, I don't even get it. 6 points, 5 points, whatever. I didn't get it. But the fact was I got enough people that first month to help me. So you guys, 3 people every single month minimally. And so that kind of kicked it off for me. Me and my friends started doing the program together. We were all getting really great results. And my coach said to me, hey, why don't you invite your friends to be a coach too? And I'm like, well, they don't want to do that. They don't want a business like I want a business. And she had to really talk to me about like, Meredith, you've got to pay it forward. Like you're taking your friends' money right now. Like they're paying for Shakeology every single month. And you're either pocketing that $32 or you're giving them the opportunity to get the same savings you do. And it was like one of those moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I never really looked at it that way. So I started to pay it forward and invite my friends that were already on challenge with me to enroll as a coach. And then I just kind of got in the habit of when people signed up, I'm like, oh my gosh, if you want to do what I'm doing and sign up as a coach, you can also get discounts going forward. And if you're talking to your clients, your prospective clients, and you're looking at what they're doing as like a 6-month commitment and not a 21-day commitment. So if someone's committing to like 21-day fix, sometimes I'll just say to them like, hey, you know what, the results you want to get, probably you might get near in 21 days. You're going to want to do it at least 2 or 3 times so you can get them set up as a coach. I ask people to stay with their commitment to their new lifestyle for at least 6 months. And that makes it a lot easier to get them signed up as a coach on the front end. But anyway, yeah, so I started coaching. I started to build a really tiny little team. It was a hobby business. I was making some money. I was hitting Success Club. It was great to have additional income as a yoga teacher. And 3 months in on my gamma round of T25, my back went out. My back has been giving me chronic issues for a very, very long time. And my back went out to a whole new extreme. Like I woke up in spasm. I couldn't stand up. And that went on for a really long time. So it went on for a couple of months where I could kind of walk hunched over, but it got really, really hard to teach 16 or 18 yoga classes a week when I couldn't stand and I couldn't demonstrate the postures and I couldn't adjust my students. And then at one point so that was in December, and then in February, my back completely went out. And what happened was a disc tore and it went down. It was like an inch tear or a centimeter tear, and it went down my nerve tissue got compressed and I got what's called drop foot. So I became paralyzed, essentially. Couldn't walk, lost motor function in my left leg, and I became bedridden. So I basically lost my job. I mean, they didn't fire me, but I couldn't work. I couldn't walk. I basically had my boyfriend at the time would have to carry me to my appointments. Like we live on a 2nd story, so he'd have to pick me up and carry me, load me in a car. I couldn't walk at all. And then somebody brought me crutches, and every now and again, if I was really hopped up on painkillers, I might be able to be on a crutch. But the minute my toe hit the ground, it was like searing pain over my entire body. So it was a really dreadful time. I say it lightly, but I can tell you there were really, really dark moments because that went on for a month. And I honestly didn't even know if I wanted to live some of those days. And that's coming from someone who's like a super optimistic, positive person. But I've never been in so much pain in my life. And I've never been so like incapacitated. But it was also the aha moment I had because I realized I was sitting on a freaking gold mine, right? Like all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I have 0 savings. At the time I was 38, so I'm almost 40. So I'm like, I'm 38 years old. I have 0 savings. I don't have anything really built up for myself. My career that I've invested the past decade in uses my body entirely. And I'm basically, the minute somebody else says you can't work anymore or your body can't work anymore, you don't have a job. So I didn't know all of a sudden how I was going to pay for my medical bills, when my surgery was going to go through, how I was going to pay for that, or how I was even just going to pay for rent and keep the roof over our freaking head. So it was definitely a moment that I was like, okay, do or die time with this team thing. Like my coach kept telling me, like, bring more coaches on. And I'm like, doing it slowly, kind of getting there. I was diamond, but I wasn't really diamond, if you know what I mean. I was kind of just like stacked up the discounters. And that was when I flipped the switch. And my intention and my vision for my business went somewhere else completely. And all of a sudden, I started to reach out to people specifically about the coaching opportunity. Lo and behold, when you reach out for someone about a challenge, they want to do a challenge. When you reach out to someone about being a coach, they want to be a coach. So I started to reach out to all the people that I knew that were like me. So this is really important, right? You have to, like, as you know, you've got to get fine-tuned in your target demographic. And so for me, the people that were like me are people that are already working in health or wellness or holistic wellness, fitness, that sort of thing. They loved holding space for other people. Maybe they were a nurse, a yoga teacher, what have you. They loved being there for people. They worked really, really hard. They poured their heart into other people, but they didn't make any money, but they did love helping people. So I have a lot of pearls on my hands, right? So basically, I started to reach out to all those people, and I just said, hey, not sure if you've seen what I've been doing lately, because I've been sharing a bit about my transformation. People saw my physical transformation. I shared, stuff about coaching a little bit along the way. I had earned the Success Club trip, but I hadn't even gone on it yet. But I just sent a note out and just basically said, hey, I don't know if you've seen what I've been doing, but right now we're actually bringing more coaches on board to do what it is that I do. We're all basically I kind of spoke their language and just said, this is an opportunity to help a lot of people to work for a cause. And I told them what I was making at the time. So I don't even remember what it was. I'm pulling in a couple extra bucks to help pay for rent. You're one of the first people I thought about because XYZ. So this is why I reached out to them, right? And this is what's important. Like, you have to understand why you're reaching out to someone, why you selected them. Like, I'm reaching out to you because I know how well you hold space for other people. You're always so positive and inspiring. You're always doing things that are innovative, and I'm always watching you, and I recognize how much you can help other people. Would you be interested in learning more? And that's where I started. So I basically affirmed why I was reaching out to them, told them that I had something for them, asked them if they'd be interested in learning more. I didn't vomit information on what it was on the front end. And through that, I started to have conversations. So honestly, I was hopped up on paid meds, so I can't even tell you what happened at that time. I was laying on my back with a laptop on my lap, typing my fingers off on the phone, having conversations with people, telling them what I was doing, talking about the challenge, talking about, becoming a coach and what that meant, and that I didn't even know what it meant. I was like, you know what? I've only been coaching for a few months. Here's what it's done for me so far. This is why I'm so excited. I would love to do this with you. And everything was like, not about me leading them. It was about us working together and being part of this team that helped other people, that did what we wanted to do, helping other people, working for a cause. And it was camaraderie and support, accountability. So that's where it really started for me. I know I'm kind of chatty. I warned Raina, I can talk too much. But that's really ultimately my story. And that was sort of my go year. I saw my coach is Amy Silverman. So she had posted in our, one of our webinars, this picture of her in Belize, and she had an elite retreat. And she was like, oh, anyone that wants to go to Belize, you just have to be elite this year. And I didn't know what elite was, you guys. I had no freaking idea. I was like, I'm a diamond. There's something about 5 diamonds, something about elite. I don't even know. All I know is I want that freaking trip to Belize. It's like the money, I needed the money, but the money wasn't it. Like, I needed the accountability, the support and all that, but that wasn't it. I'm like telling you what it was for me was a stupid trip to Belize. It was a yoga retreat. And I'm like, I've never been on a yoga retreat to Belize. I'm going on this freaking retreat. I'll figure it out, hell and high water. So that became my vision board. I stuck that thing on my vision board. I put a lot of diamonds on there. I put elite on there. I put pictures of the house I wanted to live in, and did my whole vision board and got really clear on my mission, and I just went after it. And, you're going to sacrifice, those of you that are in your first couple of years, you are going to sacrifice some time, a lot of time probably, to reach your dreams. But you do that because you have to sacrifice so little in the long run, right? Like, you're going to sacrifice a lot for a few years. You're going to not go out, not watch TV, or not go on date night. You're not going to eat some of the things you want to eat because you want to get really good results. All these things are going to happen. But when you look at that, if you're I can just do this for 2 years and push so freaking hard in these 2 years that I build this massive team, then on the back end, I just need to tap my well, right? It's all about consistency, you guys. So, there's that analogy in the compound effect. If you're when you're starting your business, it's like pumping a water well, and you have to pump really hard to suction that water up from the pipe. And it takes a really long time. So a lot of people will, once it finally comes up, they see a drip and they're like, that wasn't worth it. And so they give up, and then other people see the drip and they're like, okay, well, there's something there. I'm going to keep working for it. And so you work until there's a steady stream coming in. And then once that steady stream is coming in, you don't have to pump so hard. You just have to tap your well. But the minute you stop tapping, your well runs dry and it starts to suck back down, and you have to start that all over again. And it is exactly the same thing in this business. I mean, Darren Hardy hits it on the head with that. It's like you pump so freaking hard on the front end and you start to expand your network and connect with a lot of people and start to invite. But all of those invites and follow-ups and all of these new people you're talking to today, some of them are going to be your coaches in a year from now, but a lot of you won't make it a year because you'll see that drip in the well and you'll be like, that wasn't worth it. And you'll check out, and the next person's going to come in and pump their well and get that whole gold mine. So, you know, consistency is a really big factor. And I feel like one of the reasons why my business has been so good, I'm very, very consistent. I know with Raina, she's super, super consistent as well. So I don't know what to say. I want some questions so that I can like help.
I love it. I love it. Well, okay, so I have a question. Like a lot of people in here, I think there's a good mixture of people in here. I think there's some new coaches. I think there are some coaches who've been coaching for probably a year, maybe two, and then some of my, you know, my old coaches that are in here. So like maybe to somebody that's stuck, whatever, like, you know, area of their business they're in, or, you know, however long they've been a coach, what is, you think, probably the best advice you'd give somebody that's just like stuck? You know what I mean? Not growing.
Yeah, that's hard because everybody gets stuck on different things, right? Like some of you might be stuck on, like you go up 2 coaches, down 2 coaches, or you're stuck at like, I always get Success Club 2, but I can't get to 5, or I get up 5, but I can't get to 10. We all get stuck on different things. So 2 things I would say. One is the 10X rule. I know that Raina loves that book. I'm all about that book. You've got to shoot your goals really, really high because most likely you're going to fall in low. So if you're always every single month, like I'm going to get 2 coaches and I'm going to hit Success Club 5, you're probably going to get Success Club 2 and maybe get 1 coach. If you keep your goals really high and say, you know what, I'm going to get Success Club 20, I'm going to, you know, recruit 7 coaches this month, you might fall in at Success Club 10 and recruit 3 coaches. Not too bad, right? So it's really setting that bar for yourself and 10xing it. But the bottom line is when you set that bar, you have to still create visualization around it. Because if you're just saying it and you're just like, I believe it's going to happen. Like things don't happen to you or for you. They happen to you because you make them happen. If you sit idly back on your laurels and manifest your business, it's not going to happen. If you visualize it and you're like, I'm going to get 10 people, and you make a really clear list. Like you guys, I'm a paper and pencil person, but I still do lists every single month. I just got on the line the other night with a bunch of my girls and we all made a list, 100 people together. These are new contacts that we're going to start forming and connecting with, recognizing that some of those people probably won't sign up in 6 months from now, maybe in 3, some of them might sign up this month, and then we'll make another list of all of our follow-ups. So you know, I think that you've got to be really clear on who it is you're inviting to get past that plateau. Also, my second thing would be to seek external leadership training. So I think one of the things that happens a lot, I see it in my organization, is you get so excited about whatever system you have for training. Like ours is called phase 1, phase 2, dash to diamond, right? Like, great, we have all these trainings in place. And then people can graduate. And some of me and my other elite friends did like entrepreneur leadership ladder training and all these other trainings. And so you get stuck in this sort of Beachbody umbrella of trainings and your personal development book, which is great. But if you're feeling like you hit a plateau, you need to start seeking education outside of this Beachbody umbrella. That means you need to start investing in Danny Johnson or Chalene Johnson or Tony Robbins or John C. Maxwell or whoever it is, or Joshua Coates. But you can't stop with just what Raina teaches you, because despite the fact that she is, you know, achieving amazing success, you're going to get capped on information you take from her. And then all of a sudden, if you're not, you know, opening up to all these other things, there's some things you're going to get stuck on, because you might have things that you're getting stuck on that she never got stuck on that are going to be hard to coach over, right? So, you know, you're bound to hit some plateaus. There's a saying that, you know, talent's only going to get you so far, and that's why you really need to dig into skill. So your skill is going to come not just from what you're getting with your Team Beachbody business and the trainings, but what you seek out outside of Team Beachbody.
I love that. I could just like listen to you for hours. I honestly could. I'm like such a little wealth of knowledge.
I feel like an elf tonight. You guys made me nervous. I don't usually get nervous on calls because I'm used to talking all the time, but I'm like gibbering like a little girl and I'm like sweating.
Okay, somebody said, I think this is just an advice post or an advice question. I've been a coach for 7 months and I've not sold a single challenge pack. I'm stuck trying to find my niche, however you say it. Any advice?
Yeah. You need to talk to more people probably. I don't know. So it depends. Like I was just on a call last night with my girls that are pushing for diamond and each one has different hurdles. Like one of them, I said, send me some of your conversations because she's contacting 30 people a day. And I looked at one of her conversations and it started with a question like, hey, not sure if you like wanted to, but I thought you might want to do it. One of the challenges. Have you ever considered it? ? And then it went into a whole paragraph of like talking about her challenge. And it's like, but you never even gave that person an opportunity to answer your question before you pushed information on them. So it could be a little bit of that happening. That definitely can happen. It can also be that you're not targeting your right market. Like you just said, you might still be trying to figure out who your niche is. I think Katie Heifner has that amazing exercise, but I also say like, your target market is you. Like, who are you? What is it that you love? What is your initial reason for reaching out to your coach? What did you want? Did you want the business? Did you want, fitness? Did you want a meal plan? Are you a busy mom? Like all of these things will help you kind of determine what your niche is. And also that thing that you don't want to talk about, that's probably a big part of it too. I think it's really hard for us to get vulnerable sometimes on social media with the stuff that's really like deep. But that's where you're going to connect to people because you need to make emotional connections. A prime example is one of my coaches. She's a star diamond. She's been with me for 1.5 years. And she's been so shy about this one thing that she finally came out of the closet and told everybody. And now people are coming to her. But basically what it was is she's a stay-at-home mom. And so she always led with that. But the truth of it is she doesn't love being a stay-at-home mom. Like she loves it to be with her girls, but she didn't want to be with her girls all the time. She always wanted to run a business, but she had to go home because her husband had a job that took him around like traveling all the time. So she had to check out from being a VP at the company she was at. So going from a VP to going to like, I'm a stay-at-home mom became like a big shocker. So she needed something that kept her busy. And now all of a sudden people are connecting to her and understanding what she's doing and understanding her voice totally differently. And they're like, oh, now I see why I need what you have. But before they weren't making the connection because she wasn't getting vulnerable with it. So it might be a little bit of tweaking that as well. It can be so many things. Like I really feel it's like how you show yourself too on social media. Take the time to craft smart posts. Make sure your images are brightly lit and they're not like for lack of better words, like cruddy. I don't know, like if I saw a photo of someone who is an entrepreneur and in their background, it just like their house looked like a total mess, I probably wouldn't want that job. So like, yes, there's being honest with it, but maybe the honesty would be like showing a picture, showing a picture of your stack of laundry or your laundry basket and being like, oh my gosh, we let the laundry go, whatever. We're doing 5 loads tonight, instead of showing your house and like everything is a mess all over the place and like there's a dead child on the floor and like there's a dead dog in the corner, because it can get a little bit, if you saw my desk right now, aka my kitchen table, you would be like, oh my gosh, you'll never see this in a photo. I will not show it to you. So hopefully that helps. And talk to more people, a lot more people.
Yeah, that 10X rule, I swear I keep sharing like little tidbits of it in some of the groups we have, and I just freaking love it. We were at Huntington Beach Super Saturday, and that was the first time I'd ever heard about it. There were like 6 people talking about it, and I started reading it, and I'm like, just mind blown. It's kind of like stuff you already know, but it's like to hear it again and over and over and over and over again, it just really helps. So you just got to put yourself out there more.
Yep.
Do you guys have any questions? I know you have questions. Please ask questions. After reaching out to people to join your team, when someone says that they're interested, how do you respond next? Where do you take that combo?
I take everything to email. So I'm not good with Facebook Messenger because I'm honestly not good at not word vomiting. So, so I use scripts, and I use canned responses, which works really good for me. I have a Gmail that I've done completely separate than my normal Gmail. And that way I can, it's called MFit and Health, where my old one was Meredith.Gnau, right? So it's like, now I know that anything that goes into MFit Health is a business email. So the minute I have some sort of interest on Messenger or on Instagram, I'm immediately going to ask them for their email address. So I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you're interested. Of course, I can't wait to tell you more. What's your email? And then I get right over to email, and then I pick up the conversation there. So canned responses lets you copy and paste all your scripts into canned responses. And there's like this little arrow in Gmail, and literally you open up your Gmail, you hit the arrow button, and your whole script pops in. It's magic. It doesn't work from phones, but it does work on your laptop or computer. So I just basically go in and then I finesse it. I always adjust the script so it meets the conversation that we were already having. But I always start at script 1 and script 2, and I'm happy to share the scripts I use. You probably already have them. They're the same as Amy's. But basically, it's asking why they're interested, thanking them for their interest, and right away turning it over to them that I want to get to know them. I think another valuable thing that I've done with my script that anybody can do, no matter how long you have or have not been a coach, is to make a transformation story, a short video on iMovie, and put it into your signature card. I did that I dragged my feet for probably a year before I did mine. Close to a year before I did mine. And once I actually did it, I realized, oh my gosh, I didn't talk anything really about my 1-year journey. I literally showed half pictures before, like some of them from 10 years before I started my Beachbody journey, to basically my transformation story, which was my first 60 days on T25. And that's the end of it. And I've been using that same one ever since. So all of the stuff that happened with coaching afterwards, that's really not in my signature card. But so I put it on YouTube. It's 2 minutes long. I stick it on my signature card. I did that maybe a year and a half ago. It has 15,000 views. It's the only video that has that many views on my site, but it's because I don't care who I'm emailing. If I'm reserving a hotel room, if I'm doing anything, I don't care if you're a plumber, you're going to get my transformation story, because somebody somewhere is going to connect with it, start to follow me, and ask me for help, right? So I would say get a transformation story made on iMovie. I didn't know how to use it, so don't use that as an excuse. I didn't use it as an excuse. I just went in and did it. I figured it out. Put it on your signature card. Get canned responses set up. Anyone you're having messenger conversations with, get them over to email so you can use those canned responses. Get to know them right away. So this is not about you. It's not about your story. They can get your story and the transformation in the signature card. The rest of it is really focused on digging into them and giving them some information. For me, it's like right around conversation 3, where I'm like, here's what we do. And I do the same scripts for if you're a coach or if you're doing the challenger things. I figure every coach needs to be a challenger as well. So for me, it's the same scripts. But step 3 is when I just start to share about what it is we do. I don't share any of that until I learn about them first. And if they don't give me enough information, if they write back and they say, oh yeah, no, I'm really excited. I just thought maybe I want to lose 5 pounds. That's not enough information for me to tell them more. I need to go back and say, absolutely, I hear you on that. I've been there. I've been frustrated with my weight as well, but I need you to tell me a little bit more about where you're at, why it's important you lose 5 pounds, how you're feeling right now, where you're stuck. Otherwise, I can't help them.
I love that. That's all I have to add. When it comes to your team and keeping coaches, how often do you do calls? Do you do push groups when pushing those shooting for rank advancements?
Yeah, so I do a weekly call. I started it when I had nobody participating on it. So I would just show up anyway and sit there on the line, and then I would record myself and post it in a Dropbox. So anyone, the 2 coaches I had that wanted to listen to it could listen to it. Maybe I had 4 coaches at the time. But my team call started really, really small. There'd be 2 or 3 people on the line, and it grew over time. And I invite everybody in my downline onto my calls and that sort of thing. And now that I have a much bigger team, now we do Good Vibe Tribe calls. So like my call's actually happening right now, but we have a number of elite and Star Diamond coaches that run those calls, which is really great. So we have a lot of different leaders on them. But yeah, there's a weekly call on my team. I also do push groups. So like last night I had a call for all the girls that are my personally sponsored that are pushing Diamond right now. And so I try not to do the groups on Facebook anymore because they get added to so many groups. You guys know, you just get so overwhelmed with groups. So I just do threads. So everybody, if you're a coach of mine, you're going to be in my accountability group. You're going to be in my team page. I should have a personally sponsored page, but I actually made my personally sponsored page my downline page because I broke away from my my coach really early on. And then I do threads for all the push stuff. I do an SC, a Success Club push thread. In the last like 11 days or so, I just started it today of the month. So anyone that was in Success Club or got a couple points on the board the month before, we get in there and we have accountability in there, and then we can chat with one another. And then I do a push for my diamonds as well, for the girls that are pushing diamonds, where I can push out information like, let's do our lists together. Let's do this together. This is your assignment today. And that's sort of a non-chatty thread where they're not allowed to comment back. It's literally like, here's your assignment, go do your work, and it keeps them on task.
I love that. Okay, so this is a good one that I know we talked about a little bit. Okay, so it says, I've been struggling with my age group, age 40 to 45, and getting people to join in groups. What experience or advice do you have in appealing to this age group?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's pretty close to my age group. I tend to bring in people that are in their 30s and their 40s. I have participants in their 50s and 60s. I even have a coach that's 70 years old. She's amazing. So I have found that I'm big on Facebook. I love Facebook, but I recognize not everybody is big on Facebook like me. And one of the things I always tell my coaches, because I didn't get big on Facebook until I started coaching, is it's your job to be on Facebook. It's nobody else's job to be on Facebook. So, you know, all these people, when you're making these groups and they get in there and they're not participating and you're getting pissed because you're like, I'm putting so much energy in, that is not their job. It is not their job to get on Facebook. It is their job to do the challenge. It is your job to track them. So there's a couple things you can do to track them. One, now we have the amazing app. Lots of people are using apps. So you can use the My Challenger app. It's a great way to send push notifications out to them. So every single day they can hear from you. They can get, you know, their Shakeology tracked. They can get their workout tracked, that sort of thing. Or if you know that the person is just not going to do it, they're like not a computer savvy person at all. They refuse to download an app. They refuse to use Facebook. You're going to have to formulate your own system. One of the best things I have found is to tell my challengers right away when they sign up with me, whether they want to use the Facebook groups or not. I ask them to send me their before image. So sometimes I'll tell them, post it in the group if you're comfortable with that. If not, send me your before image. I will keep it confidential, but this is for your accountability and I'm going to track your progress. So that way they know, like, oh man, I better do my challenge because I had to take my photo, I had to see my photo, and then I had to send my photo to someone. That sucks. So I'm already on top of them there, which is going to help them get on top of their challenge. If they're not going to use any of the systems provided, there's going to have to be a weekly check-in. So it's up to you how you want to run your business. Early on in my business, when I wasn't wearing so many hats, I would send out like a check-in form. You know, it was like every Sunday I would be like, you know, give me your stats, essentially. Kind of like, I think Tanya was talking about it on the wake up call this week, where it was like Saturday, like take your stats, send me your updates, send me your food journal, that sort of thing, so that they had accountability. But now that I'm too busy to deal with that. So it's literally like, you're either going to send me an update or this is how I track. You're like, I track on Facebook and I track on my fitness app tracker. So if you are unwilling to use my system, I can't help you. I can give you the tool, but like, there's only so much I can do. Some of you might do better with like vocal texting. I have found really, really effective. And in your phones, you can do, you can save on it's like the microphone app. You can save certain messages. So you could do one that's super generic and doesn't even say the person's name and just say, hey, we haven't connected in a couple of days. I just wanted to reach out, let you know I was thinking about you and see how you're doing on your challenge. Today, send me an updated progress photo. Let me know how you're doing and how I can support you. I'm so excited to connect with you. Just save it and then you can push that out to people. You know, like any little things that you can do to let them know you're thinking about them. But for me, this is horrible, but it's like if you're not participating in my app and you're not participating in my Facebook, I'm not seeing you. And that to me just shows me that you're not as committed to your fitness journey. And I match pace. I will meet you where you're at. If you're willing to come in here and show up, I will support the heck out of you. But if you're not willing to come in here, there's only so much I can do. The amazing thing is, to add to that, is I have some people that they don't participate in the groups. And some of them are 40s, some of them are younger than 40, but they don't participate in a group. But a year will go by and they'll sign up as a coach because they have been watching. They never participated, but they have been watching and they love it. They love their Shakeology. They love the challenge group. They love the energy. They are inspired and they want to coach. And some of them, one of them actually is probably going to be one of my elite coaches this year. So you just never know. The people are watching, even though they're not always participating.
I love it. Do you run the same challenge group, like the same information and all that stuff on the app and the challenge group on Facebook?
Yeah, I do. My challenge group, I don't have a start and end date. I just have one rolling group. So I know a lot of people like, and at the very beginning of my business, I'd have like, I made up certain challenges. Like I'd have the summer solstice mermaid challenge or whatever. I just name them all corny names. And I would do things like personal development. So we would all read the compound effect together, which I think is a great one for challengers to do because it really gets you in better habits. And I would also add in other activities, like at the very end, it would be like, okay, now we're all going to clean out that one room of the house where you store all the crap that you don't want to look at, that closet or that secretary or that thing that's freaking you out. We're going to go clean that out. And by the time you're towards the end of this book, you realize, okay, it's time to declutter. So there's some fun stuff you can do with PD books. But so I used to do my groups like that. But honestly, again, like I wanted to create a system that was just so easy. So I invite all of my coaches into my challenge group and I invite them to bring their challengers into my group because for the most part, when you're a brand new coach, you know how hard it is to get energy going in a group. So if my coaches are only going to have 1 or 2 challengers, get them in a group where there's energy so they can have a really great experience and participate and interact with other coaches. So they see that like, oh my gosh, coaching is something that really is for me. It's not some weird MLM thing. It's like, these are actually amazing people that I want to stay in connection with. So that's the first thing is I have a rolling group now. So I don't have a daily post that goes up that's like, drink more water today. It is literally an accountability group. Every single day I post my sweaty selfie or the food I'm eating. I do talk about the stuff that happens in Beachbody On Demand, in our supplement line and that sort of thing. Because once they're in your challenge group, they're in your trust circle. So you need to be pushing out really marketing information because they don't know what's in there. Like you need to be talking about your experience with recovery. You need to be talking about using Energize. You need to be talking about your favorite workouts on Beachbody On Demand and make sure that they're getting their club membership and utilizing Beachbody On Demand. You need to be talking about all of that stuff that they don't know yet. You know, the greens powder, the boosts, all those things. And the more you talk about it, the more you're actually going to create lifers that are buying more products that sign up as coaches. It's amazing the ripple effect that has, and it helps a lot of people. So my challenge on my app, it's literally like, I really run mine on my group. That's my deal or on my Facebook page. My thing is my Facebook page. My app is different because if you sign up, my Challenger app, if you sign up for a free membership with me, whether you're a company generated lead or, you just signed up for free membership and you want to do club membership, but you haven't bought anything yet for me, you can be on my app one. And that's for anybody that wants to participate at all. So it kind of gives them the opportunity to get that push notification to start to see what some of the other people are doing with Shakeology and hopefully get them in the door. So I use my Facebook group as kind of the upgrade. Like, the fitness app is awesome. It's great to track with. But for those of you that really want my files, you want to get my ebooks, you want to get all the extra thing I have, you get on your challenge and then you kind of graduate to my Facebook page. So that's how I have my app set up.
That's interesting. I like that idea. I've got so many ideas running through my head. I need to redo my challenge groups. I need to use the microphone app. I need to do a lot of different things. When people don't participate, how often do you check in with them after the group? Well, I guess you do an ongoing group, but how often do you check in on them if they're not participating?
I don't really know. I mean, I guess whenever I think about them, it really just depends. I really try to get my people to participate. I find that the people that don't participate are the people, I mean, some of them again are going to be like the ones that come back a year later and they want to coach, but I know that they're in there because every now and then I'll connect with them. Like every month I might send a note to them or every couple of months and I hear from them and they'll say something like, oh my God, I see everything. I know I'm not participating. I'm the worst challenger, but I see everything. But I'm like a really disorganized individual. So I'm like one of those creative people. So my lists are a little creative. I love it.
Those are the best kind of people.
Well, I always say, like, if I can do this, anyone can do this, you guys. Like, seriously, anyone can do this if I can make this work.
Okay. I don't know if it'll be the last. Let's see. Okay. So you kind of touched on this one already, but ask it anyway. How do you keep your coaches fired up and engaged? I know you said you do like a lot of threads and stuff like that. Is that basically the way you just keep them engaged?
Yeah, I talk to my coaches a lot. So I think one of the reasons why you said, like, you know, if your challenges are kind of disappearing, how often do you check in with them? I don't that much, because I'm more focused on my coaches. I try to get all of my challengers to enroll as a coach just so I can track them easily by looking at my sponsorship drill down. It makes it really easy for me to follow up with people. So generally in that first, like, if somebody doesn't enroll as a coach in their first week, within that first like 2 weeks, and I know that they're on their challenge, I'm checking in and I'm trying to upgrade them, because I just want a simple list to follow. That's my sponsorship drill down. I'm really, really active in our team page. I'm in there every single day, probably to a fault, probably too much. I'm always pushing out information. I am really connected to my community. I love my coaches. I really feel like they're like family to me. So I do a lot of messages. I feel like, again, that, you know, the Messenger app is so great. Not so much like a recording that you would push out to everyone. That would be more of a personal recording. But I have opposable thumbs, so, you know, trying to type all the time is like autocorrect disaster. So, and you guys know I love talking. So it's really easy for me to hit the microphone button. I could be driving or sitting in the, shouldn't be driving, sitting in the passenger seat. I might be driving, but sitting in the passenger seat or whatever is happening. And I can be like, cleaning my house and think of a coach of mine and be like, hey, just wanted to check in on you and see how you're doing. I know that you got a new customer, or you got a new coach. Just wanted to see, were you able to help them get set up right? Or do you need support with that? Like, I'm pretty much on top. Once you have a team, I don't care if you have 1 or 2 people on your team, you got to be checking your sponsorship drill down. You got to be seeing what's going on, and you got to be coaching your coaches on what to do next, because they don't know what to do. So it's like, if you've got a coach, you got to get on the horn with them and not only keep them accountable to the health and wellness, because a lot of them are signing up really for that, but also you've got to say to them, hey, who do you think, who would want to join our accountability? Who do you know that wants to join the group with us this month? How are you feeling? Who else could benefit from that? And if they kind of want to open a business where they kind of want to get their shakes discounted or what have you, or for free, you got to be asking them other questions like, who are going to be your first 2 coaches? So get them thinking so that because their vision is not there. Like, you've really got to coax them into that. But I just use I connect with my coaches a lot. I talk to them a lot.
Somebody said, I love her passion. And somebody said, I want to say, they go, where is it at? She said, I just have to say, you look dang good for 40 or something like that.
Hey.
Threaten it.
That's the Shakeology. Yeah. I did a lot of green juicing, and I think also this environment, you're constantly surrounded by a lot of really positive people and a lot of youth, which I find really exciting. It keeps me young, so I think that all contributes to good looks.
You look just as hot in person.
You're very sweet.
I'll do one more question. What platform do you find that you have the most success in finding working coaches? If it's Instagram, if you're using email for communication, do you find it takes a while to get a potential coach to commit?
Sometimes yes. So I use Facebook the most for connecting to my warm market. And who was it? Was it you? Somebody said the other day, your warm market never runs out. I forget who said that. Was that you, Lena? Yeah, and I really liked that, because it's like, it doesn't, like, even when I was like, I've tapped through everybody, I'm like, well, when I look at some of the avenues that I use for a lot of my forming and connecting, it's like there's always an influx of people coming in through those connections that I have. So, and referrals, there's always so many great people that I'm being referred to. So, I feel like Facebook I use a lot for when I'm doing direct invitations to somebody, or I'm starting conversations and starting to form people. And then I feel like Instagram is a space where I do more attraction marketing, where people, I go on there and I do the same thing. I like CCQ, what comment, compliment, question. I do that thing. Or I start private messaging people that actually I just want to be friends with. Like, I kind of look at it as a way to build friends no matter what. So I just have fun with it. But I find like on Instagram, I get more people that probably email me that are like, hey, I saw your post. I've been following you for a year. I've been following you for 2 years. Like, they weren't following me for a month and decided to email me, you guys. Like, I had to post for 2.5 freaking years, the same call to action for them to finally say, hey, I've been following you for 2 years. I really am interested. So I find that more of my, I guess the people that come to me are from Instagram. And then the people that I'm going to that I have success with are more through Facebook. My email conversations, I try to move them through my scripts so quickly that I try to close people. Like, I've got a 7-script process, and that is it. Like, if I lose you at script 3, which is when I start to tell you about what it is that we do essentially, which is usually where I lose people, I'm going to hit you a follow-up message a week later and be like, hey, I just wanted to make sure. I'm going to forward that message and say, hey, just want to make sure you got my last email. I know how important XYZ was to you. And I'm very specific about what their goal was. I reiterate their exact goal. You guys, this is huge in your scripts. Instead of saying, like, even if you get to the point where you're recommending a program, do not be like, I think you're really going to like this one. Like, erase the thinking verbiage and put in, I am confident. I'm confident that this will XYZ. And you insert exactly what they said. If they said, I want to fit into my size 6 skinny jeans, that's what you insert. If they say, I want to lift that big ass tire at the gym, that is what you insert. Like, you have to reiterate their goal. So I will re-forward that message and just say, hey, I want to make sure that you got my last email. I know how excited you were to XYZ. And I'll tell you, sometimes I don't hear back. Other times I do. Sometimes people say, thank you so much for following up with me. I never got that email. So the fortune is in the follow-up, you guys. You really need to follow up. So I try to move them through my scripts to close them that same month. But I've got someone that just is signing up with me this month, and I looked and I added her to my sneak peek a year ago. So sometimes it just takes a while. It takes a really long time.
Which is another reason why it's super important to talk to so many people. Keep that funnel just constantly filled up.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly. Anybody else have any questions before we let her go? No? Meredith, do you have anything you want to add?
I have one thing.
Okay.
Okay. So I've grown to have really good friendships through this business, and they mean a whole lot to me. Mm-hmm. And when I find myself in a rut, I can see it impact my closest friends around me and my team and all that kind of stuff. How do you build people up when you don't feel good yourself, besides investing in personal development? I know, and I'm back on that track. But is there any other way?
I mean, I think there definitely has to be like fill your cup days. Like, I don't know what the things are that fill your cup, but I found for me, like, I don't know how far you dig into this business, but for me, I pour everything into my Beachbody business. Like, it is my heart and soul. Like you said, the connections I've made, the friends I made, the reason why I talk to my coaches all the time is because I freaking love them. They are my sisters. They are my brothers. I don't have a lot of guys on the team, but I really do connect. But there are days like today, for example, I have not left this seat, and I pretty much have been attached to my computer and my phone all day. So there are definitely days that are exhausting, and it was like pulling teeth for me to even create a social media post. So you might go to my social media because I'm very consistent, and I have to make sure I get at least 3 up, period, and a story. So like today, I had nothing to give. So I posted my transformation story and reminded people something that I posted before, why I was here. I posted a photo from a year ago when I was on a trip with one of my teammates and talked about that. And then I posted just right before this call, I posted these 2 books and said, hey, I'm going to be on a call tonight with this amazing team. How cool is that I get to talk to all of these women about something I'm so passionate about? So exciting. And then when I get off, already pre-planned, I will be posting what I posted an hour ago on Snapchat, which is me laying on top of my computer dead and fried. So like, I didn't have anything to give. I have nothing to give, but I'm going to be consistent with my posting. And those are also the days, like tomorrow is going to be my day. So it is the day, like Wednesday is kind of my midweek refill. I'm going to go to yoga. I'm going to do some personal development. I'm going to sit in the sunshine. I'm going to get fresh air. I'm going to go on a long walk. I'm going to do some visualization. I'm going to really think about what it is that I want to cultivate. And it's going to inspire me to sit down and probably do some journaling and probably do some inviting or connecting for maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, probably more like 3. But, I will probably take the bulk of tomorrow to fill my cup. And it just has to be like that. Like if you're pouring so much in that you're just positively drained, you've got to tap into your hobbies. And if you're like, I don't have any hobbies, you got to start finding hobbies. And that's also what's going to help you connect to people. You know, like if you get so caught up behind your computer that you stopped going to those things, right? Because I just said to you a little bit ago, I'm like, you can't go out anymore. You have to work all the time. you gotta go on lockdown, but you still got to do things to fill your cup. So like call a friend up and be like, hey, do you want to go to a Pilates class? Hey, do you want to do this? And then when you're out, like if they're like, oh yeah, I see you doing all this fitness stuff, because that's all your feed is talking about, right? You have a talking point, and now you're in a community, and maybe people are overhearing you, and maybe the instructor overhears you, and maybe you're having a conversation with the instructor. You know, like I was at the yoga studio the other day wearing Wear and Share. I had on a pair of pants that said Beachbody Coach, and this girl goes, oh my gosh, you're a Beachbody Coach? And I was like, how did you know? And she's like, oh, your pants. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah. And so we had a whole conversation around it, and other people are coming in the room and listening to the conversation I have, and you see their ears go up. So then you know there's other people you can start to connect with and form. So I don't know. I tend to go off. I'm sorry. I have third chakra.
No, that's good. And I don't even, Kate, did that help?
Yeah, I think that just the filling your cup part is really important. I think that we get focused on our numbers, and we get focused on things that we don't have, like an email signature, a transformation, iMovie thing, and we start like freaking out and writing our notes, and then we forget why we're actually in this business, which is because it makes us feel good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you know what I do for that sort of thing too? Because I listen to a lot of calls and webinars. I'm like one of those people that just loves hearing stuff. So I make a list, and it's not like a weekly or not like a daily to-do list. It's like, here's a bunch of things that I know I got out of this call. Like I really need a transformation video. You know what a great place to start is for that? Like, I'm going to go through some images. I'm going to take maybe an hour this week to go through some images and see what I have, and maybe reach out to my mom and see what she has at home that she can send me. That's a great place to start. And then the next week I can be like, okay, I've never used iMovie, so I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to just try to like throw some images in and see what happens. And then maybe, you know, by the end of the week, you have a little story that's starting to unfold. So in 3 weeks from now, you have your transformation story. And it didn't require you to sit down and stress out. It was like, it happened organically over 3 weeks, but it happened because you actually put it on your list of like, these things need to get done this month.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Corporate, we have calls with corporate, and I was having like a rough couple of weeks the last couple past weeks. And he's like, you know, what does Raina, this reminded me, because he's like, what does Raina do for fun? Like, what do you do to disconnect? And I'm like, sleep. Like I fall asleep at night, and that's how I disconnect. And it really was like an eye-opener to me. And like the last couple weeks, we've really gotten into hiking and being outside and just running around and just doing stuff to disconnect. And it's literally just like changed my mindset. And I can't express how important it is to have those, you know, fill your cup days. It really, really, really is crucial to your business, for sure. And just that daily personal development, even if it's 10 minutes. Like I usually read a chapter a day, whether it's a page or 15 pages, whatever the chapter is. I just read a chapter, and then I am that creative personality where I just take it, and whatever I've learned from that chapter, I try to implement it and move on. So Meredith, thank you very much for being on. I appreciate it. I'll share the recording too, just in case you want to give it to your team. And I'll make sure we post it on our page for you guys to listen to and get more notes from all over again. So, all right, everybody have a great night. Again, thank you, Meredith, and I'll talk to you.
Thank you.
Bye.